So just to recap, this famous run for fun in March 1974, not long after that, the records of the club showed that there were 200 members. So very quickly the club gained traction in the town, and it didn't take long for success to follow either. The club's first medalist at Dublin Championships was Ger Boylan, and Ger was due to be here this evening, but she isn't. Ger from the Square, and she got to represent Skerries in nationals. And not long after that, a very talented girls team came through the ranks. And it is a theme in the club, the emergence of really strong teams of girls. Most organised sports clubs in the 70s were predominantly for boys. And the Skerries Athletic Club really was one of the first clubs where I think the girls in many ways were the heroes. And the team that came through at that point, Joanne Power, Linda Jenkinson, Nora McCarthy, Edel Will, Deirdre McGrath, and not long after them, people like Anne Murray, Anne Watson, Fiona Mullins and Sylvia Smullen. They set a strong precedent and an inspiration for generations of girls in athletics, but also in other sports in the town. And Joanne and Linda in particular went on to great individual triumphs as well at national level and more green jerseys. As the 70s turned into the 80s, the club was very well established, had a very strong presence. And it even looked as if the club's efforts to get some proper athletics facilities in the town would bear fruit. And our archives, in fact, show correspondence from 1979 between the club secretary, Tony Broderick, whose daughter Andrea and son Paul are with us tonight, and John Boland, TD, who's then also chair of Dublin County Council. And it shows plans for the soon-to-be-acquired Mills Fields, including a drawing of a full 400-metre all-weather running track and pavilion, 1979. So a well-established club with lots to look forward to and a bright future ahead. As the 1980s moved into the 1990s, the next era I want to mention really runs from the kind of mid-80s to the early 90s, and I think it's kind of the second wave really of the club's evolution. And at that point, that was around that time I would have run, and quite a lot of people in the room would have run with the club as well. The main training base was the field at Mill Hill. The community centre had just been built, and there was a big green space in front of it, no all-weather hockey pitch at that stage, so that was great. Facility for training, nice flat green space. And we were able to use the community centre very regularly, had a high jump mat, all the equipment for high jump and field sports. There was a long jump pitch just here in the Brothers Field, right where the ball wall is. So almost everyone in the club had to go at long jump, triple jump, and won lots of medals at that. There was also a very strong athletics programme.
Including your triple.
Oh yeah, my only goal at Dublin. National bronze, I think. There was also a very strong athletics program, we should say, at that stage in the secondary school in the Holy Faith de La Salle, led by Brother Eugene, but also with Margaret McLaughlin, who's here tonight, and Robbie Callan. So athletics was very strong in the school as well as the club. And at this stage, the original trainers were people like Pascal and Paddy, but had also been joined by others, including Tony Broderick, Brendan Crimmins, I know Catherine Hurley, and two very, very significant individuals, Mick Bulger, who we have met earlier on, and who is very welcome tonight, but also Jim Quigley. And there's others here who know Jim much better than I did, who would remember him, and could probably speak much more eloquently about his contribution, not just to the club, but to Skerries, and indeed to Ireland. He was president of Winter Natira. But what I remember certainly as a kid was a man of huge energy and enthusiasm and fun, and I think together that group of coaches kind of supercharged the club, and I think of it as a real kind of golden era for the club. And in terms of participation, you know, it was a really big club in town, lots and lots of people members, and also great successes. On the girls' side, I think Eva Flood was probably the outstanding individual athlete. It was a fabulous boys cross-country team, this at Middleton and long distance, comprising Ken O'Shea, Paul Broderick, Shane O'Neill, Paul Slattery, Stephen Lynch and Stephen Smith. But it was also a great era for sprint and field events. The dynamic duo of Shane Hegarty and Rossa Prendergast battled over many a sprint and hurdle race. Shane's here tonight. But again, of particular note was the emergence of the girls' team, a relay team in particular, and some fabulous strong sprinters. Edel Quigley, Sinead Barden, Caroline McManus and Gillian Jones, and these girls stormed the Dublin Championships 3 or 4 years in a row. They won national medals. They set an Irish age group record for 4x100, which lasted many years. And they also all had great success in long jump and high jump and things. So that's a great era. We have Caroline and Edel contacted us. They weren't able to make it tonight. I'm not sure whether our technology is going to allow us to, because they each sent a very brief video. Our screens aren't working. If we may just try and show them later on, but both of them were unable to make it here tonight. I was also not in Sinead Barden, wasn't able to make it, but they sent their good wishes. And that momentum in the 80s carried through to the early 90s. The club continued to be very popular and talented. Successful athletes came out. Philip Dunn, Pamela Farrell, Elaine Halpin, who I know is here tonight, Deirdre O'Halloran, Scythe, and are just a few. So like that success really carried through to the 90s. But at some point during the 90s, the momentum stalled, and maybe it was the fact that this famous facility has never materialised. Almost all the facilities I mentioned earlier on, Mill Hill Field was fenced in and is now no longer usable. The hockey pitch took the green space in front of the community centre. The Harps developed this site. The long jump pit ended up in the car park, and then the car park at the community centre. And then just ebbs and flows, I suppose, of the success of other sports in the towns. But the athletics club certainly had lost some momentum, and there was still a lot of very enthusiastic people, but it was a smaller club. And the next year I want to move forward is to about 2002, when I think Deirdre Durkin, who is here tonight, the club secretary, and Paul Mulligan as club chairman, undertook to recruit a few new coaches. Being honest, I think the way it's been described to me was to kind of rescue the club from folding. And among the calls they made were to Joanne Parr, now Joanne Karen, who's here tonight, whose eldest daughter, I think Amy, had just joined the club. And not long after that, others including Eamon McGinley, who's here tonight, Bree Chickey, Brian Tuck, Betty Price, Mary Boylan, who's here tonight, got involved. And then not long after that, people in maybe about 2008, 2009, I think people like Kevin and Liz Thompson, Keith and Bernie Downey, Olive Ballard, Donna and Joe May. And it was the hard work and enthusiasm of these people through those years that not only kept the club alive, but it also created what I think is really the second golden era of the clubs, again in terms of participation and success. Stars of this era include Ciara Durkin, who was here earlier on, but had to head off. Ciara, just look at our roll of honour outside, 8 national championships and records, club records that are still held. On the boys front, Owen Pearce and Paul Boylan enjoyed great success, and Owen, who's now based in the UK, went on to win the national indoor 1500 metre title last year for Clonmel. And again, not long after that, we saw the emergence of another very talented, great Skerries girls team, including Isabel Caron, who's here tonight, Rona Pearce, Erin Devine, Anya McCarthy, Sarah Byrne, Laura Costello, and Eva Downey. And while Isabel's personal achievements during this time were remarkable, again, have a look at the roll of honour outside to see more. What struck me when I talked to Joanne and other coaches is they emphasise the strength of the team, and that this era in the club, people just talk again and again about the team spirit that there was in the club between parents, athletes, coaches, a real sense of community within the club. And we're very lucky that Joanne, Olive and Kevin, who did so much to create that second golden era, are still involved in coaching our kids groups today. So rolling forward again, the next kind of couple of milestones I want to mention are the establishment of the club sprint and Fit for Youth groups. And they kind of took place basically in the last 10 years. I think Fit for Youth maybe a little bit more recently. And in different ways, these have also made a great contribution to what the club is today. Firstly, sprint group. So for a club with no track, very little flat ground, well-lit land to train on, in particular in winter evenings, it's probably not surprising that in that era that I talked about, the club's success and the emphasis was mainly on cross-country and middle distance. But the establishment of the sprint group, which was led initially by Ruth Sheridan and now is led by Aish. Did I say? That's Nigel giving me the 2-minute warning. But that group, that group, the sprint group, is really what I consider a triumph of determination over adversity. This is a group that can be found on wet winter evenings using head torches running up the hill in Shennock Field in mud. And even when they train in the town parks area, as you know, there isn't really a straight 100 metres without some kind of pothole or some kind of piece of mud or a hard corner. But all that work has paid off, and not only have we now had great success in sprints in recent years, but we've also been able to retain kids involved in the sport who wouldn't probably have been interested in keeping involved in the longer distances. And that's fabulous. And I think the shining example of that is our current star, Cressida Amaniampo, who unfortunately can't make it tonight, but people will probably know her, I hope. Despite still being just 21, she has reached 2 senior national track finals in the last couple of years, and has done so in a Skerries A.C Club vest, which is something we're incredibly proud of. Cressida is a true star of athletics, going to be a star in the future. She's a great inspiration in particular to our sprint group, and a great credit to them and the hard work they put in. And then there's Fit for Youth. And in Fit for Youth section, so led by Andrew Broderick, this group caters for kids who are really not that pushed about races and medals, but they just enjoy the camaraderie of running and the simple pleasure of meeting friends and exercising and chatting and socialising, and it's great. The ethos of the group, I think, connects directly back to that original Run for Fun, and we're so happy to have that group. It also connects to our Fit for Life section, which is part of the senior section, and we're delighted that that is a stream, just simply enjoying running for its own sake. And the stories that Andrea has about that group, and the positive influence that she can see it having on those kids, both their physical and mental health, but also the coaches and how fulfilling it is for them. It's just amazing. So we're really grateful to Andrea and the other coaches there for what they do. And if there is anyone in the audience who is inspired this evening to kind of give something back or to kind of get involved, please talk to Andrea. It doesn't take much. It's not a group that trains hard or runs hard, but it's a very fulfilling thing to be part of, and we're really proud of that part of the club. And then the final milestone to bring us up to date, I want to mention it, is spring 2023, just over a year ago, and that's when the club formally established our senior and adult section, which has grown quickly to nearly 140 members. And I have to say, the decision to set that up as a committee, we thought long and hard about it, and I know previous committees had also done that. Because it's more or less doubling the size of the club. It's a whole separate section, whole other set of concerns and interests to kind of mind. But when I turned up about 8 weeks after we set it up to the Balbriggan 5k run, and found about 70 people running 5k in Skerries vests, and when I turn up occasionally in Lochshinny when I try and train with that group, or up in Shennick with Katrina, and see 50 people running around Shennick doing intervals in the field that I go up in. I mean, it's just, I'm convinced that we've done the right thing. And I think that senior section, I know that there's been lots of friendships made out of it. I think it's been a great way for people to meet new friends. Hopefully people's running is benefiting from it. But I also think it gives the club critical mass, it gives us support, it gives us future committee members, and it gives us human resource. And it also creates a pathway for kids who maybe are turning 15, 16, maybe leaving school, maybe thinking, will I keep this running thing going? There's now a way to do that in Skerries and to stay involved in the club, and I hope that will serve us well in the future. The last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to talk about the missing milestone. So, if I was the chairman of any of the other big clubs in town, or if I was the chairman of athletic clubs in many other towns, even smaller than Skerries, then one of my milestones of our 50 years would be the year we got our facilities and the year we finally got track in Skerries. So unfortunately, as you know, we did have that hope for many years, and it hasn't happened. The club still basically uses whatever parks we can, public spaces, roads. We're very lucky to have the community centre for an hour on a Friday, and the hockey pitch, and they're great friends of us, and that's really valuable. But in terms of thriving and growing, it's very difficult. In case you do get depressed, I do want to finish on a high note, and the picture isn't all gloomy. During last year, we did put a proposal to Fingal County Council for a 200-metre track in a clubhouse at a site in Hamilton Hill, which they are due to take over control of shortly. We've also had a very long-standing request for development of a 1 to 1.5k running and walking path around the town park there, which would be lit at night. And I I think they could be fabulous facilities to town. And I am delighted that all three of the local councillors and also former councillor Karen Power, who was very helpful for this, were very, very supportive in our discussions with Fingal. And one of our priorities after we finish these events in the autumn is to, and post-election, when, as you know, many promises and many discussions are happening about facilities in Skerries, is to get back into engagement with the council about that. And I sincerely hope that when a future chairman stands in front of an anniversary celebration, whether it's the 60th or 75th or 100th anniversary, that they'll be able to talk about the milestone of when we got our facilities. And whether that's 2025 or 2026 or 2027, who knows. But let's hope that happens in the future. So I'm going to hand back now to Eva. Thanks for your attention. And we have one final little presentation we want to make towards the end of the evening in about 20 minutes time or so. But enjoy the rest of your class.
Just made a small presentation to Skerries A.C. to celebrate their 50th anniversary. From Tala A.C., big round of applause to Skerries' 50th anniversary. Shy to come up. Let's get up here and say a few words now.
A good man with a microphone, I have to say. Is thank you very much.
Hi everyone, Edel Quigley here. I want to send my warmest greetings to Skerries Athletics Club as you celebrate 50 incredible years. I'm sorry I cannot be there tonight. I have so many fond memories of my time with the club. I've made friends for life and the club gave me a passion for running. I'd also like to thank Mick, Pascal, Betty, Catherine and Nolene for their hard work and dedication during my time at the club. My dad, the late Jim Quigley, also cherished his time as a coach. His love for the sport lives on in me and continues to inspire my family today. Congratulations everyone and well done to Gareth and the committee on organising such a fantastic evening. Enjoy everyone. Best of luck for 2024.
Hi Skerries Athletics Club, Caroline McManus here. Congratulations on the 50th celebrations. Sorry I can't be there. I can't quite believe it's actually been over 30 years since I've been involved. My involvement began in the late 80s and through until the early 90s. I remember clearly the day that Jim Quigley, the late Jim Quigley, came to my parents' house to ask my parents if I'd be interested in being involved with the club. And being a lover of sport and most sport, I jumped at the chance and wow, had a great experience. Being involved on that relay team initially with Edel Quigley, Sinead Barden and Gillian Jones was a pretty special time. I can't emphasize enough how much Jim did for us in there, but also people like Mick Bulger and in the early days Kevin Carmichael, what they did for us as young people. I feel at the time they may not have thought we were appreciative, but feel very privileged and grateful for the time and effort that they put in because of their passion and their passion for the sport and their passion for developing youth in sport. So thank you to them. I know talking about achievements are great and those are great memories for the club and for all of us. But probably what goes down more so is the people and the people that we became friends with. Some we still, you know, we still have those bonds. And people, I can't go without saying people. I mean, I've mentioned the team earlier, but people like Shane Hegarty, Rossa Prendergast, Conor Keeling, Olivia and Trish Hurley, the McQuillans, the O'Sheas, the Floods. I'm probably missing, you know, heaps, and if anybody's there and I apologise, but you know, you have such great memories of travelling to events, travelling in and out to Santry so much, down to Tullamore, down to Nina, These are times that I have so many great memories from, and I really am grateful. So congratulations on bringing the club from strength to strength. I'm very proud to say that I was involved with the club. For those who are now involved, keep volunteering. It's fantastic to see, and have fun tonight. Slán.
We came together with the idea of forming an athletics club in Skerries. And to their hard work, their inspiration, I suppose their enterprise, and their vision. Over that winter, we actually have the minutes of every single meeting about that they had. And it's very evident that they put a lot of thought into organising the club. And in particular, the first event, which they called the Run for Fun, which took place on the 10th of March 1974, and very shortly afterwards, Skerries Athletics Club came into being. We're lucky to have some memorabilia, including the original poster for that outside. And we may even have some people here who did that run, or attended it, certainly. Anyway, that initial seed, from that small seed to the club that we have today, 50 years later. We do have a newsletter that was issued very shortly afterwards with the names of the original committee members. And I just want to read them out so that people can remember and recognise them. Vincent Woodlock, Ian Matt Boylan, Tom Derham, Hughie O'Boyle, Pascal Shea, Angela Dixon, Seamus Murphy, John McBride, Declan Mooney, and Sergeant Brian Carty. And we're delighted that Pascal and his wife Becky are here this evening. Garth is also alive and well, still living in Churchfield. Unfortunately, he can't make it tonight, but I did talk to his son Ivan and pass on good wishes to him, and he did likewise. We haven't been able to trace John McBride. He lived in Patrick, and nobody can remember him. So if anybody here does know who John McBride was, the original committee member, we'd love to know. And all the others have unfortunately passed away, but we are delighted to say that we've managed to contact family of many of the others. So a very special welcome to Brian and Jane Woodlock. Linda and Stephen Derham, to Judy and Gorma Boyle, John Murphy, John and Mary Caldwell, and Mary's dad Stephen, Seamus, apologies. I'm not sure if Stephen Hanley is here. Stephen is the nephew of Angela Dixon. If he wasn't sure if he could make it, but we pass on our good wishes to him. And then Derek Mooney, Derek lived along by Greg Renkenstock. People probably know that area. And his wife, Derek died, and his wife Ursula and son Colin unfortunately died. So there's nobody unfortunately we could contact there. So they're in our memories tonight. And I also want to a very special welcome to Paddy Parr. He wasn't on the committee, but Paddy was one of the original club coaches. And coach members from its very early days, father of our current coaches, John and grandfather of Karen and Carol kids who have been made such a contribution to the club over the years. So can I please ask you, first of all, you're all very, very welcome here tonight. Delighted to see such a great crowd here to join us for the 50th anniversary celebration of Skerries Athletic Club. We've laid on, hopefully, some great food, some great music, some great entertainment, and hopefully some of you will that's going on. The primary purpose of tonight is really conversation, meeting people, chatting, talking about, I guess, athletics and maybe not athletics. But certainly, I hope that people will meet maybe old friends. It's great to see people from the full 50-year history of the club going back to 1974, right up to date in the latest people. So please do say hello to people that you know. Please say hello to people that you don't know. And really share those memories and reminiscences of the club. I do have we have a number of guests that we've invited here tonight, but I want to extend a very special welcome to them. Firstly, Martin and Joanne Kenny, our hosts here in Skerries Farms. Martin and Joanne, thanks very much. Great to see you today. We also have representing Skerries Town FC, Mr. and Mrs. Skerries Town FC. In fact, Nick and Ollie Goldberg. And I'm ready to know that Nick and Ollie were also Mr. and Mrs. Skerries Athletic Club for many years, both of them involved in the committee and coach. So we're very welcome and great to see you. The president of Skerries Rugby Club, we're very welcome. your family also have connections. I know your sister was a member and your dad was a coach, so you're very, very lucky. And we also have Sharon Glennan and Yvonne Barkley from Skerries Community Centre. They're great friends of the club. We use their facilities very regularly, and I know they're great proponents of events in town through the Community Association. And we also have some representatives from our neighbouring clubs, from Skerries A.C. with Nicole Hodgson. And I know we've one other person from Seamus, you're very welcome. Sorry. We've another program from the Van District. We know we've Stephen Nice and Train as well from MSA. You guys are very welcome and playing to have events. And we got a very nice message of congratulations and apologies for Hamish Adams, who's the chief executive of Athletics Ireland. Unfortunately, Hamish couldn't make it. And we do say the daily Athletics Ireland competitions officer and Skerries member, and coaches here to me. Thanks very much. We're delighted to have Leroy Bredanis, who joined our senior section and helped coach us last year when we set up the senior section, and many of our newer members have known Leroy. We're delighted to see you here tonight. And we also have our current senior coach here tonight, national marathon record holder, winner of London, Dublin, Berlin, Amsterdam, 4 times silver medalist. In the pyramid. And he's not the only person here with the World Championship events, and we're delighted to also have Mark and Shane going on to we in the last years have done unbelievable things on the Masters event circuit, a double world champion. But unfortunately, he runs the God of Colours on it. He's might change his mind. We might have seen new records years to come. And we're also delighted to be in Sweeney, former Irish champion, 100 metres and 100 metre record holder. And periods we know our coaches so a lot of Danish. And we also have local collective representatives, Brendan Ryan, Councillor Brendan Ryan, and Tony Marcus here, and Tom O'Leary, who's here, so apologies. And we're also delighted to have the Minister for State, for Community Development and Integration, Joe O'Brien, whose kids are also members of the club. We're very lucky to go.